And I hear that we've got Alex Jones on the line right now. He's going to join us. Alex, you there?
Yes, sitting here listening to you the last few minutes. I'm doing Skype audio as I drive from London with some breaking info back out to Watford. And listening to the show, you're doing a great job. And I want to comment on the IRS situation here in just a moment. But first off, am I coming to you good?
Yeah, sound great.
Fantastic. First off, because I forgot to say this yesterday, I want to just say that Richard Reeves has been the most valuable player on this trip so far. And he's sitting right next to me. And Richard, say hi to everybody.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to London. We are broadcasting live, obviously, and Alex is going to be giving you a big breakdown later on all the news of the day.
Anyways, there is Richard Reeves, and I intended to be back, but we hit traffic that was going half a mile an hour that got us about 30 minutes behind. So we're almost back to the hotel where we're staying. I'm going to meet with the head police people tonight. I've got a lot of breaking news, but I'm going to get that out at the bottom of the next hour after we set up video Skype. And I actually have my notes in front of me and can punch up some of the emails and things that I have on my phone. So I've got to go over some of my notes and things. I'll be back in about 15, 20 minutes to the hotel, and then we'll connect up, and I'll be ready at the bottom of the next hour with a bunch of breaking news, focused info, but not just Bilderberg. I've got some other important news that I want to cover as well. But just getting back to David Knight there and the viewers and listeners in the studio, big breaking news in the United States of North America, when the number one news site, drudgereport.com, linked yesterday and today, top link, last time I saw it a few hours ago on the left-hand side, to the Bilderberg list and to their agenda. I want to go over what their agenda is code word for. That's a big deal when something like that is out in front of everybody, where you have all these world leaders meeting in secret and then basically trying to tell the public that it doesn't exist. That's the big issue, is exposing that the puppet masters exist. That's a big victory that they've been denying it exists, that we forced it. That discredits them. But Bill Gates, we've confirmed, this is usually how they do it. It's not who's on the list that's important every year, about 125 people. There used to only be about 20 extra people that they tried to keep secret that were there. That's usually the illegal type stuff, where they're going to be meeting with regulators and people that are there. So you don't want that behind the closed door meeting. That's why they'll have people that try to sneak in, like Obama, like Hillary 5 years ago. Well, we've confirmed Bill Gates is in London in a few days, and you can bet your bottom dollar we'll try to sneak in. That's why they cover their faces with newspapers. That's why they don't want to be known that they're there. That's why they get so upset. And we've got some other big names that we know are in London and from our moles are reportedly going to be out there. So to all the activist journalists, that's why it's important we not just be where the police and others say, oh, here, you're allowed to stand on the sidewalk here, nowhere else. They're going to be trying to direct Bill Gates and others in the back entrance, or they're going to try to land via helicopter. I saw them out getting some marks out, and we tried to get footage, but I was going to try to go out there later, but then they caught us last night and threw us out. But I saw what looked like helicopter marks they were putting out on the front lawn. And again, it's a huge compound. Just the main acreage around the hotels, over 300 acres. And there's over 1,000 acres just for the golf course. There's several big pieces, but bottom line, that's why it's important that we get activists everywhere breaking up places, doing, splitting up our
starting
reporters.
to break
I've
up
got
there.
6. I'm sorry, how much of that were you able to hear, David?
You said it's important that we get everybody out there, and you started to say that you've got reporters there, but go ahead. You got about 6 reporters?
That's why Alex Jones is not the most important person here. Paul Watson is not the most important person here. Steve Watson is not the most important person here. Eon Watson is not the most important here. Leanne McAdoo is not the most important person here. All of us independently are just as important, because you never know who is going to be there at a gas station down the street when a black limo pulls in, or a black Mercedes, and David Rockefeller's in the back in a wheelchair. You never know, when a helicopter lands, are you going to be in the bushes with a digital zoom, getting the shots of Lord Rothschild. So we're going to come back and talk more about that, just tactics and strategy.
Hi, Ted Anderson, president of Midas Resources. With over 30 years of experience in the precious metals business, I can tell you without a doubt, we are facing the most dangerous and volatile times, not just in the United States, but worldwide. Peace of mind is gold and silver. Now is the time to invest in gold. When it comes to bullion coins, our prices are competitive and the closest to melt. If it's numismatics you're looking for, we have some of the best deals out there. Visit MidasResources.com today or go to Infowars.com and click on the link to see our daily specials. Here's an example of one of our long-term specials we've been offering for more than a year. 2 silver dollars from the turn of the last century, plus 2 powerful films, The Obama Deception and The American Dream. We also add in the book Dishonest Money, all for $72 and free shipping. The most trusted name in precious metals is Midas Resources. Call 1-800-686-2237 or go to Infowars.com. I'm Ted Anderson with Midas Resources.
We are now only entering the edge of a global financial superstorm, the likes of which the planet has never seen. Here in the United States, the private Federal Reserve is giving more than $85 billion of taxpayer money a month to themselves and other offshore foreign banks. And the worst part is, we have to pay the bank's interest on the money we give them. There is now a race between the global central bank mafia cartels to see who can devalue their country's currencies the fastest. We are already seeing big increases in inflation at the grocery store and the gas line. This will eventually lead to hyperinflation. More than a dozen top globalists like George Soros have been buying record amounts of gold while at the same time bad-mouthing it to the public. Don't just listen to what they say. Watch what they do. For more than 6,000 years of recorded human history, gold has been the ultimate hedge against uncertain times and inflation. Before investing in metals, it is important to do your own research and find a reputable company. Midas Resources has the highest Better Business Bureau rating of an A+. Unfortunately, very few precious metal companies can boast that. Midas Resources has assembled one of the most educated, researched, and professional teams of brokers in the industry. The evidence is overwhelming. In uncertain times, gold and silver is safe harbor. Now is the time to invest in gold. Call 800-686-2237 and Midas Resources will mail you 10 reasons to own gold absolutely free. No shipping. It's absolutely free. And finally, Ted Anderson wants to challenge you to find any deal that comes close to his 2 silver dollars at cost with free shipping with 2 free films and a book for $72. That's more than $160 value for $72 shipping included. Click the link at Infowars.com to go to the MidasResources.com specials page. Brought to you by MidasResources.com and Ted Anderson, the trusted name in precious metals.
Welcome back to the InfoWars show. This is Alex Jones is on the line with us from Watford, UK. He's en route to the Bilderberg site where they're covering the annual Bilderberg meeting. And Alex is telling us just before the break about how the importance of covering Bilderberg is not just to expose the fact that it exists, because for decades we were told that it didn't exist. And it's not even just to expose their agenda, because much of their agenda is hidden at any given time. I've got a stack of stuff here of exposed past Bilderberg meeting minutes that were leaked by WikiLeaks. But as Alex was saying before the break, it's really key to have people on site all over the place, not just Alex Jones, not just the InfoWars staff, but all the citizen journalists out there with their cameras, seeing who these secret attendees are. They publish a list of the people that are there, but the real key thing are the people that they don't tell you are coming. People that are like future presidential candidates, like Bill Clinton, who attended. Or when we had our Texas Governor Rick Perry, he attended before he ran for president. So it's always interesting to try to see who these unlisted attendees are. And so Alex is on his way there to cover that and many other aspects of Bilderberg, and we've got him on the phone live right now. Alex, are you there?
Absolutely, and I want you to be able to go over all the news you've got, other Bilderberg news, for the first 30 minutes of the next hour. My Skype's breaking up a bit. Am I coming through to you good, Houston?
What's that, Alex?
Am I coming through clear to you, Houston?
Yes, you are.
Okay, great. Yeah, absolutely. Just adding to this, also, because we force media coverage, we're then hijacking the dinosaur media. We can then expose what the Bilderberg agenda is to the media. And when they lock it down, and they've now built this big steel fence. When I was there last night, they were putting it up, and they said that the crew had to work throughout the night. I went up to the GS, security group, GS6, and openly talked to them. And then when the head of security found out, he got so mad that we were hiding in plain view, talking to the security people. So I've got some of the security preparations that I'll break down coming up as well. But there's so many reasons that this is important. So if you are in England, if you are in the UK, get down here any of the days. Tomorrow, right through Sunday. It's so important, and just bottom line, big numbers. But there's also the private airports close to Watford. There's so many places. You never know when you're going to run into these people. They also...
You're breaking up a little bit there, Alex. Can you hear me now? I think we lost Alex there. He's saying that it's very important, if you're anywhere in the area, if you're in England, show up, because you never know where you're going to see somebody there. You might see someone who's famous, and it's a real key thing. You know, famously, Margaret Thatcher supposedly went to one of the Bilderberg conferences. She did not like what she saw and was very openly critical of it. And it wasn't long after that she was removed from power by her own party. These people really wield power. And, you know, everywhere they go, they're imposing things like the income tax. As we mentioned before, that came on at the same time that the Federal Reserve, the private central bank that controls our currency and much of our economy here, that came on at the same time. This just came out from the BBC News. Tiny little Andorra is going to introduce an income tax for the first time. Andorra is a very small nation. It's, I think it's the sixth smallest European country. In case you don't know, I had to look up where Andorra was. It's located between Spain and France in the Pyrenees Mountains. Very tiny, only about 85,000 people in the entire country. But, you know, no matter how small they are, they cannot escape the scrutiny of the banks. The banks have to impose their income tax system. Why? Because that gives them the most control over people and over the economy.
Our viewers have demanded it, so now you're gonna get it. More pro-Second Amendment gun shows in the month of June.
What we've learned is you cannot hide behind an I-beam when there's a 50 cal present.
Brothers in Arms, 50 cal ammo review, and more. Coming in the month of June to the InfoWar.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight, standing in for Alex. We've had Alex live on the phone from the UK. He's on his way to Watford, UK to cover the Bilderberg meeting as people are starting to arrive today. Alex has been delayed by traffic. He's going to do the last 2 hours today, but he's going to be back with us shortly. As a matter of fact, I hear we've got him on the phone right now. Alex, can you hear me? Hello, Alex.
Absolutely, David. Just finishing. Yes, David. Can you hear me now?
Yes, I got you.
Great. They got me faded up there. Fantastic. I'm just calling in because I got stuck in traffic via audio Skype. I'll be to the hotel studio in the next 30 minutes with a whole raft of breaking news and information for you on Bilderberg. But just finishing the point that I was going to make. The reason it's important to mob this event with cameras is that you never know where a globalist is going to sneak off to go meet with a hooker or something, which they do a lot, or to go do Lord knows what. There's also little break-off meetings that they engage in sometimes. That's where we get some of the best intel. Also, it's good to go to local restaurants and bars. This is a semi-rural area, late night. Go ahead.
We got kind of spotty connection there. It's going in and out. But what Alex is doing is encouraging everyone who is anywhere in the area to do citizen journalism. You know, we had the Operation Paul Revere contest. Alex really sincerely believes that you are the Paul Reveres. He believes that we've got to get as many people on this as possible. That's why he set up that contest. It had over $115,000 in prizes to encourage people to become citizen journalists. And we had a lot of people who sent in entries to that. It was the first time, obviously, a lot of them had done anything, but I got a lot of emails from people saying that it's really opened up their perspective on what they're able to accomplish. And we're going to be featuring a lot of those things on Prison Planet TV, Infowars.com, and also on Planet Infowars. We'll probably have some kind of a site there that it's dedicated to that, so that most of the people who put something up, we're not going to be able to put up everything. We got literally several hundred just in the last couple of days of entries. But we're going to try to put up some work from a lot of people. A lot of people sent us very many entries. We're going to just put a few of those up. But stay tuned. We're going to be putting that stuff up there. That's right, we're here live. I'm David Knight, and Alex Jones is in the UK, and he is looking for answers. He wants to know what's going on, and he's going to be telling us what he finds out. We had him on the phone live as he was en route, and the reception is going in and out, so he's going to be checking back in with us periodically. Once he gets on site and gets a stable connection, he's going to be here for a long time, taking over the show, telling us everything that he's seen, and he's been very active, as always. Alex never rests. And he's been very active in the UK. Now, we covered last night on the nightly news the idea that Motorola is coming up with a new high-tech device to track you and to basically enable you to use the internet. They sell it as a high-tech tattoo or a pill that you can swallow. And, you know, it's such a problem when you have passwords that you have to remember, that people are going to be willing to put these tattoos on their body or swallow pills in order to get rid of that problem. Do you really think so? Do you think this is something that is really coming from the public? Are there people out there complaining, in your experience, about remembering passwords to the extent that they're willing to do something like this? Let's understand where this is coming from. This is coming from Motorola Mobile, and the lady who is the head of that division now is the former head of DARPA. Yes, the dark research people. That's why I like to call them. The same people that create killer robots, the same people that are out there creating weapons, staying up all hours of the night, creating stuff to destroy the world, that DARPA. She came from DARPA, and she went to work for Motorola Mobility. They've been bought by Google. Yes, that's right. It's all connected, isn't it? You've got this revolving door, just like you used to see, only in the military-industrial complex, with people going back and forth between military research projects and actually working for the military. So you have these revolving doors that are not disturbing just from a financial standpoint, but they're disturbing from the idea that Google is now buying out Motorola's mobile division, which is then put in ahead of DARPA, who is then coming in and saying, we really want to make sure that everybody's got a password to get on the internet. They want to make sure that they've got some way to identify you. This is not being driven by the consumers. This is being driven by the elite leaders. They want to know exactly where you are and what you're doing, and you've got to take this tattoo and put it on you like some kind of mark of the beast in order for you to have access to the economy. Remember that a big part of this immigration bill that's being pushed now in Congress is about extending biometric identification. We know that they've got cameras all over the place, that they're looking at facial recognition. They're even examining the way that you walk to identify people, looking at your ears, whatever. But they want to take this to an all-new level. They can never have enough control. It's kind of like the original Rockefeller. You know, he was famously asked at one point by a reporter, "You're the richest man in the world. How much is enough? Why do you keep accumulating more and more money?" And, of course, his answer was, there's never enough. There's always enough. How much is enough? Just a little bit more. And that's the way it is with control. These people are control freaks. They want to control everything in your life, and so they want to come up with tattoos and pills that you swallow in order to track you. Now, also in tech news, we've got Apple devices. It's just been learned that Apple devices, reported by the BBC, are vulnerable to attack via a bogus charger. Look at how easy it is for the government or a malicious private individual to hack into your phone. Using a bogus charger, a team from the Georgia Institute of Technology managed to infect a phone with a virus in less than a minute. Any device using Apple's iOS operating system would be as vulnerable to infection, they claim. And they said that this affects all users. It does not require a jailbroken device, and it does not require any user interaction. Now, famously, a year or so ago, General Petraeus, a Bilderberg attendee now, he's there with his new best friend forever, Henry Kissinger. You know, he was kissing Kissinger on the cheek, giving him an award for defending freedom and democracy just about a week ago. And now the two of them are traveling to Bilderberg. I'm sure they'll have a lot to talk about in defending freedom and democracy. Don't you think that's on the agenda, defending freedom and democracy? Probably not. But he famously said that at a conference, talking about how they were going to use appliances to monitor people and to spy on people. And we had a guest last night on the InfoWars Nightly News. We had Sheila Hemphill, and she successfully led an effort here in Texas to remove not to remove smart meters, but just to allow people to have the freedom to opt out of these things. And we talked about that. If you haven't seen that report, that's a very good, very informative interview. If you know people that don't know why smart meters are dangerous, you need to show them this interview, because what we do is we talk about the health issues, we talk about the privacy issues that I just mentioned, and there's many other privacy issues, but we also talked about the economic issues. And there's a lot of people out there who I kind of call them the Fox News crowd. They don't really care about privacy. They may not buy into the health issues, but they care about money. You can get their attention if you talk about money. And there's a lot about smart meters that is about money. There's an effort. What it is really is something that came up with about 10 years ago, their official report. Of course, I've been playing it longer than that. But it's about managing the decline of energy production in the United States. Not only are they not building infrastructure in the United States, well, why should they? Because they're transferring all of our heavy industry and manufacturing to China. They're not building new power plants, but they're shutting down the ones that we've got. And they're going to use these smart meters to manage that decline, because they don't want to make less money. These power companies want to make more money. So how are they going to do that? They're going to charge you a differential price rate based on when you're using the energy. And they've already know that it's not going to change people's behaviors. Certainly everybody is going to work at about the same time, so those are peak hours, and people are getting up and getting dressed, taking showers, cooking. You can't change the hours that you work, so your peak use of electricity isn't going to really change, even if they put very high rates on those peak hours. But it's going to be a way that they can make more money as they supply you less and less for what you pay. Now, along that line, there's a massive protest in Tokyo. 60,000 people are protesting government plans to restart nuclear power in that area. Now, in the wake of Fukushima, they basically shut down all nuclear power in Japan, and now they're starting to talk about pulling it back up again. There are a lot of issues with nuclear power. It's not my favorite way to generate power. We have a power plant in North Carolina, not too far from where I came from, just outside of Raleigh. And they're now starting to see these nuclear power plants, which were originally licensed for 25 years, like this Sharon Harris plant in North Carolina. And it's been 25 years now. And they're not doing anything to change the power plant. They just said, we're going to extend the license. We're just going to, by fiat, say that it's safe, and we're going to extend it for another 10 years, 20 years, 25 years. Who knows how long it's going to go? It'll probably go indefinitely or until it melts down or they have a major accident like Fukushima. And it was within less than a year after they said, we're going to just ignore this 25-year limit, that they had to shut the entire plant down because they found technical problems that could result in a very dangerous leak there. So that entire plant, as far as I know, is still shut down. That happened a week or so ago. But the real problem with nuclear power, is not even the accident issues that you see there, but the fact that you have no way to dispose of the nuclear waste. Look at what the real issue at Fukushima was. The real issue is this pool of on-site stored waste. And once these nuclear power plants operate for a number of decades, the actual power plants themselves become so irradiated that they have to cease operation. They have to shut them down and disassemble them, and the components of the buildings actually become more nuclear waste, along with the spent fuel rods. These are things that have to be managed, that have to be controlled, that have to be contained for tens of thousands of years. Now, apart from the health issues, apart from the technical issues of doing that, let's go back again for the Fox News crowd to the money. Let's talk about the money. Who's going to pay for the constant containment and monitoring of that? Apart from all the health risks that can happen, and we've seen now with Fukushima what can happen if you don't keep those spent nuclear fuel rods contained. Unfortunately, you know, we're shutting down the power plants, the old fossil fuel power plants. We're shutting them down at an alarming rate, and we're seeing electricity rates go through the ceiling, and those are not clean power. You know, we can build clean power plants from fossil fuels. They're not a perfect solution, but when you look at these other types of solutions, they only look worse. It's really sad to see what's happening to the power industry base here. But of course, as I said, when you've got manufacturing being transferred across seas, we don't, I guess, need to have that much electricity, and you're going to see consumers paying a lot more for electricity as the primary users of electricity, manufacturing, gets shut down. Now, in other news, we've got emails of top Obama appointees remains a mystery, according to My Way reporting here. They say that some of President Barack Obama's political appointees, including the Cabinet Secretary for the Health and Human Services Department, are using secret government email accounts they say are necessary to prevent their inbox from being overwhelmed with unwanted messages. Sure, that's why they're doing it. They're worried about spam, right? According to a review by the Associated Press, the scope of using the secret accounts across the government remains a mystery. Most U.S. agencies have failed to turn over lists of political appointees' email addresses, which the AP sought under Freedom of Information Act more than 3 months ago. They tried to get the AP to pay more than $1 million for these email addresses. Now, of course, we know that it's not just spam. They're trying to hide what they're doing, just like they're trying to hide at Bilderberg. And we're going to be right back after the break. We're going to be with Alex Jones. He's going to be live on InfoWars Radio here, talking about what he sees in England at Bilderberg. Coming right up. Stay tuned.
I had tried everything. I'd cut back the amount of food I was eating. I was lifting weights and jogging, but nothing was working. My body was literally starving for minerals and trace elements as well as key vitamins. And as soon as I had that, I immediately could eat half of what I was eating previously and be satisfied. Now, there are hundreds of great products at InfoWarsTeam.com, but I want to point out the 3 that have helped me lose 37 pounds in just 2 months. Products like Beyond Tangy Tangerine, Pollen Burst, and Rebound. When I started taking the Tangy Tangerine and other products every day, I lost more than 37 pounds in just 2 months. Now that's results. I want to challenge my listeners to go to InfoWarsTeam.com and to order just 3 of their products, and you will see the changes in the way you look, feel, and in your appetite almost immediately. Start your journey to health and wellness today. InfoWarsTeam.com.
That's right. I am a man of constant sorrow. David Knight here for InfoWars, and Alex Jones. He's going to be joining us at the bottom of the hour from Bilderberg in Watford, UK. Right now, Alex is on the road, caught in traffic there. Hopefully, they're not having any trouble figuring out which side of the road to drive on. That's always an issue if you've been over there. And I'm sure British people have the same problems when they come here. We've got some information about Bilderberg, and if you want to keep up with what's going on there, go to Infowars.com/B. That's B as in Bilderberg, and we have constant updates there, not just from what we're covering, but as other people cover Bilderberg. We have something that we talked about earlier today. We had a clip from Michael Savage, who was explaining to his audience what's really going on with Bilderberg and why we should be concerned. Some breaking news here from Steve Watson, who reports that a no-fly zone has been enacted over the Bilderberg meeting. Police regard the confab as a potential terrorist target. Well, there may be some terrorist planning going on there. I don't know. That doesn't seem to be their style. Usually what they like to do is they like to go incrementally. We have another article here from Urian Masin, who talks about Bilderberg's 60-year trajectory has been exposed. And this subtitle that he's got here on the article is what's really key. He says, incrementalism is the key to Bilderberg's long-term agenda. That's right, incrementalism. It's not only key to their agenda, it's the key to their success. Leaked minutes from Bilderberg meetings in the past from WikiLeaks show that their first meeting was in 1954, and we don't have those minutes from that meeting. But the next year, 1955, they were working in detail on both the European Union and the EU, and we see what's happened with that. And there was an interesting video submission in Operations Paul Revere that we featured at the end of last week. It's called Blockheads, and the guy who put that together, the filmmaker, had some very good, it was good, very good narrative in it. One of the first things he talked about in the introductory piece was Gaddafi and why he was taken out. He was taken out primarily because he was talking about how the world was being broken down into just 7 to 10 nation states. They were transcending national sovereignty, but he was trying to do it too quickly and, of course, put himself in charge. They didn't like that. They wanted to go with incrementalism. But certainly there is 7 to 10 economic blocks, actually 10 have been identified now, trading blocks throughout the world. They're carving the world up incrementally into these trading free trade zones, quote unquote free trade zones. They're using the moniker of free trade, which is a good thing. Free trade would be a good thing if it were really free. But when you've got a document that is the size of a phone book, that's not free trade, that's managed trade. And free trade within an area is super. That's what made America so strong. You know, it was Jefferson in his second inaugural speech. He said that he had eliminated all internal taxation so that no farmer, no mechanic, no laborer knew a tax man. There were no internal taxation inside America. All the taxes were paid on goods that came into the country that crossed national borders. You can do that when you've got a government the size of the government that Jefferson presided over. And we ought to be striving to do that. Now, people say the world is too complex, the world is too big. You know what? The government only makes the world more complex. What do we hear every time they screw up? We hear that they made mistakes, they couldn't handle it. We even amazingly heard from the Obama administration an excuse saying the government is so big we can't manage it. And yet these are the people who are trying to make it even bigger. These are the people who, their centerpiece of the first Obama session, the first term, was to take over 1/7 of the economy. And these are the people who are saying that it is too large to manage. Yes, it is too large to manage. Centralization is a bad idea. You know, going back to my college years, those were the days of the transition from mainframe computers to personal computers. And it was interesting for me to look at what a bottleneck mainframe computers made. You had these multi-million-dollar centralized machines that were used, in our particular case, it was used by multiple universities. It was so large. And everybody was queuing up to wait on this thing. Everybody was standing in line to use the mainframe computer. And it was monitoring everything that we did. Every little microsecond was being counted. Every little bit of movement was being counted. It was making us wait on it. And the interesting thing was to see what happened when things were decentralized with personal computers. At that point, the computers waited on us. At that point, we had control, and it actually worked for the people. That's what we need to see happening in government. That's the model we need to see. We'll be right back with Alex Jones, live from the UK. Stay tuned. Well, we've got Alex live now. We've established connection. He's in Watford, UK, covering the Bilderberg. And Alex, are you there?
Absolutely, David. Again, thanks for doing a great job, as you're going to be doing all week, sitting in. Next Monday when I return, while I'm flying back in, we're going to have Mike Adams doing the whole 3 hours. And again, I just want to thank you and the whole crew for doing a great job, and everybody that supported Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.tv over the years to allow the real alternative media to actually come here and expose this. this is a huge victory, but there's so much Bilderberg news, and I got here about 40 minutes late because of traffic. We'll know better tomorrow. That I'm going to cover Bilderberg in depth with you at the start of the next hour. Then we're going to have Leanne McAdoo and Paul Watson in studio with us here on the road, here in the hotel studio, to break down what they've witnessed, what they've seen, their take on things. And I have some breaking news. But during the next break, I need to reflect on it, write it down, pull some of it up, because I literally just got connected in here about 5 minutes ago and was listening to you talk about Mark Dice. So I'm going to cover all that Bilderberg news in the third hour. And then I've got some other obvious, big world news, military news. They're pushing chemical weapons in Syria again when it's admitted that it's the al-Qaeda rebels that have it and are using it. And I'm no fan of Assad, but as dictators go, he's kind of like a Hugo Chavez type. Does some corrupt things, but is nothing compared to the globalist. And we're offensively attacking their country and putting people in, I don't want to exaggerate, but I've said like 10 times worse. And then I've thought about it and I go, wait, Al-Qaeda is not 10 times worse than Assad, who's killing nobody before all this started. They're literally hundreds of times worse. If you look at all the mass murdering they do all over Africa, the Middle East, attacking southern Russia. When they take over a country, they kick women out of college, put burqas on their heads, sexually mutilate them. And I was just thinking about how just about 20 miles from where I sit is another famous town north of London that Watson's been to. He says it's not right-wing propaganda, where Muslims on the street go around telling women who are even non-Muslim, getting in their face, you better put on a burqa, you better not wear that skirt. And about 40% of the population is Muslim in that town. So I'm intending to go over there, not saying Muslims are bad, but pointing out how the most radical of Muslims are being Saudi Arabia-backed, British government-backed, French government-backed, NATO-backed, U.S. government-backed. And as much as some right-wingers, just say, kill all the Muslims, let God sort them out, they need to understand, folks, our government and NATO takes the radical, really nasty Wahhabist. We've had Syrian girl on, who herself's a Sunni but hates the Wahhabist, and put them in your country to blow up your mosque if it's not Sunni, or Sunni they like. They bomb other Sunni mosques that aren't crazy like they are, or if you're Shiite or if you're Wahhabist. I mean, this is a Wahhabist attack on everybody, and so I want to get into that because it just hits me when you come to a country like the UK or England, a part of the UK, where there are, from what I've seen, as many Muslims as there are English people. And, they're here. A lot of them have embraced the culture and Magna Carta and things. But the whole point is this Wahhabism does not match with the Bill of Rights Constitution or the Magna Carta 1215 it flows from. And I know you're a student of that as well, David. And look, I'm all for having an open culture, but I don't want Al-Qaeda around, and I'm tired of it being protected and then used to take our liberty. So we're going to be talking about some of the big developments because they have it all over Sky TV here. They're Fox. As I walked in the building, the hotel, they had it up there with Carney, saying, oh, we're going to do something, about chemical weapons in Syria, breaking. Oh, my gosh. Just amazing. So that's all coming up. But I want to say something about the Mark Dice piece that we posted on Infowars.com last night and that we just aired here for the radio listeners. People who are radio listeners should go to Infowars.com. It's up in the tile section, and they should watch it to see it. It's even more powerful. And, of course, the trolls are in the video saying, how dare you make fun of the Holocaust? Or they're saying, or they're saying the Holocaust didn't happen. Both sides. No, Hitler killed millions and millions of people. No one knows for sure, but it's estimated that Hitler killed around, because of the war, 20 million people and millions of Jews and millions of other groups, millions of other people. Basically, anybody that didn't roll over. And the fact is that to show how dumbed down the public is, especially in L.A., there have probably been, let's not exaggerate, 200 Holocaust movies since World War II, 300, 400, it's probably a lot more. And I'm sure that number's been tabulated. We can search, how many Holocaust movies have been made. So despite that fact, if I seem distracted, they don't have air conditioners here in England. And in our hotel, we have the windows open, and a giant yellow and green hornet just flew through the window and over to me right behind the Skype camera and was hovering, looking right at me, and then just shot back out of the window. Sorry, takes a lot to distract me. It just had a hornet literally a foot and a half in front of my face, and just right here. Getting back to the whole Holocaust situation. Everybody knows about the Holocaust. Everybody knows about Hitler. Everybody knows about World War II and the death camps and the forced labor camps, or at least they should. And you can debate how bad it was, or it goes from horrible to just over the top evil. It's all just shades of black, all shades of darkness. But everyone, you would think, even in dumbed down California, would know about the Holocaust. And he's going, listen, we want to reinstate the Holocaust by the second half of the video. And he said he had like 20 minutes of this. He just cut it down to 6, but he said everyone, basically. No one got mad. No one got upset. No one got threatened. No one got offended. He just said, we're going to reinstate the Holocaust because Jews love it and they want to experience it again, and they want to roast pigs. Everybody knows that practicing, Jews, Hebrews don't eat pork. Neither do Muslims, a lot of other people. The point is, everybody knows that. So he's giving them hint after hint. We're going to bury him. We're going to have mass buryings. We're going to mass burials. And all of them agreed and signed the petition to bring back the Holocaust and roast pigs over Jews in pits. And it just shows how incredibly dumbed down and lazy. But these aren't just stupid people. That's not even the main issue. Sure, their IQs have been reduced. No, it's that they watch TV. They're living in a la-la land. They are literally in a dreamlike state. So I want to hit a couple other news items before I get into Bilderberg with you, but I'm sure you want to comment some more after playing that video as well, David, because that's frightening. And I'm not singling out California. There's some of the most awake people in Central and Northern California, in San Diego. I love California, the topography, the weather. So much of it is great. Some of the most awake people I know are from California, literally. I mean, we're on 6, 7 stations in California, 2 of them in Santa Cruz. We have huge support. I go to California and thousands come out each night to hear me speak. But at the same time, it's either you're awake or you're totally dumb. And in California, it's so extreme that in Austin, out of 10 people, 9 say ban water if it's for the earth or if it's for Obama. There, all of them say ban water. I would imagine in Austin, if I went out and said, let's bury Jews, let's bring back the Holocaust, please sign a petition, I'd probably get punched in the nose by the 5th person. There, I talked to Mark.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing. I was looking at the comments from Rockefeller.
Spinning it, but absolutely.
Yeah, I was looking at the comments. I was looking at the comments from Rockefeller about what he said about China. And, the starvation that happened there, that's not widely known. The Chinese government has very effectively covered that up. Just now, some researchers in China are going through and uncovering some of these things. There's no such thing as Freedom of Information Act in China. So that's not very widely covered. But as you said, the Holocaust, what Hitler did, that is not only well understood, but it's iconic. It's what people talk about. I mean, you talk about making the trains run on time or taking people to the showers or whatever. That's what people refer to when you talk about tyranny. Hitler is the template for that. So you would expect people in
I wear
California
1984 shirts out, and people come over and say, "What does 1984 mean?" I wear 1776 shirts out, and people come over and say, "What does that mean?" And I've worn the Gadsden flag yellow "Don't Tread on Me" shirt, and I've had white people, black folks, and Hispanics come over and ask me.
Wow.
The last time I was in a steakhouse at a company meeting waiting for the crew to get there at the bar, and a black guy came over and he goes, "What does that shirt mean?" And I said, "Well, it's the Gadsden flag, Don't Tread on Me, Revolutionary War." And he goes, "Yeah, I heard that's a racist Tea Party thing." Like he was going to guilt me and then I was going to apologize about it or something. Everybody's looking for these phantoms of racism or oppression. Meanwhile, we have mega banks sucking $85 billion a month out of U.S. taxpayer money, and they won't even tell Congress who's getting it. And then meanwhile, everybody's looking for phantoms of racism. I saw a video we posted about transhumanist death cult at the Bilderberg meeting this year. They've got all this transhumanist art of humans being killed and then being turned into machines, basically, or machines overtaking humans. Not humans merging with machines, but humans having their humanity rotting away, and it's replaced with machine. And she was wearing Native American because I know I bought my wife some of it, vintage Thunderbird earrings of the Thunderbird. It's a mythical bird. And people are like, it's Nazi, it's Nazi, it's Nazi. And again, the reason I mention the trolls is not to mention the trolls, to mention the mass mental illness. It's kind of like Mike Judge said on the show, that one of the characters, Dale on the show, never sees the big conspiracy right in front of him that's actually going on. Like his wife has had a kid with, speaking of the Native American, the Native American neighbor, but then he thinks everything that isn't a conspiracy is a conspiracy. And actually talking to Mike Judge, he picked up on some of that watching my Access TV show 17, 18 years ago, that people never wanted to face the real stuff I was talking about. They always wanted to talk about things that couldn't be proven or that were kooky.
You can always shut it down by calling it a conspiracy. We'll be right back.
Many anthropologists and archaeologists believe that before man even discovered the power to harness and use fire, we were involved in agrarian activities. That is, taking the seeds of plants and then replanting them to produce more. The very foundation of our modern civilization and human culture is centered around the planting and cultivation of edible plants, fruits, vegetables, nuts, you name it. And the globalists have been going after gardening. They've been harassing people that have gardens in their front yards or their backyards. They've called for licenses for people to have gardens because you can't trust prisoners in the police state America to be able to grow their own food. That's why I've come to the realization that we need to become self-sufficient. You need to be informed. You need to have the Second Amendment to protect yourself. You need to be politically active to wake up others. You need to filter your water. But you also need to plant a garden. Even if you live in an apartment, you can do this. If you live in the countryside, obviously you can do it on a grand scale. There are so many green belts and areas that humans don't even visit, nearby cities and in suburbs, where people are now more and more planting their own little private gardens and meadows and off the side of the road. Ladies and gentlemen, it is a revolutionary act to unplug from the television, to unplug from the computer and all the globalist propaganda, and to go out in your backyard or your front yard or planters at your apartment or on the roof of the building where you live, and to plant a garden.
Here are some of the amazing deals at InfoWars Seed Center at InfoWarsShop.com. The Survival Seed Vault by My Patriot Supply features only the finest survival heirloom seeds for a robust and hardy garden, even in the toughest of times. The ARC All-in-One Seed Kit contains 70 varieties of 50,000 seeds of fruits, vegetables, medicinal, and culinary herbs. All ARC seeds are heirloom. Each type is labeled and sealed separately for ease of use and longevity. The Deluxe Emergency Seed Bank combines 3 of Emergency Seed Bank's top sellers: the Family Survival Emergency Seed Bank, the Medicinal Herb Seeds Pack, and the Culinary Herb Seeds Pack. We also have starter varieties of the deluxe seed packages for fruit, salad, salsa, peppers, and medicinal herbs and more. Go to the InfoWars Seed Center at InfoWarsShop.com.
A little seed can grow a huge tree that produces fruit for up to 50 years. We have the best life bombs. That's what these are. We have the best weapons against death out there at the lowest prices, waiting for you to lovingly plant them and lovingly grow them and lovingly eat them and share them with others. We will strike back against the New World Order, and this is only one more initiative in our fight against them. So please join us at InfoWarsShop.com, or you can link through at Infowars.com at the InfoWars Seed Center.
Welcome back to the Alex Jones Show. I'm David Knight, and we've got Alex Jones live from Watford, UK, covering the Bilderberg. And he's got some new breaking information there. Alex, can you hear me?
Absolutely. And it's in the next hour that I'm going to delve really into Bilderberg on breaking news, inside info, massive press coverage, so much more. And then there's all this other news as we learn how the Democrats have persecuted any libertarian, conservative, or pro-life group while protecting themselves using illegal emails in the government. That's a felony, violating the Open Records Act, just scores of laws. That's why the whole EPA head had to resign, was over using a secret email account. And giving herself a royal code name. So we're going to be getting into all that. The fake chemical weapons, they say, Assad has. We're going to be breaking it all down in the next hour.
Hello, this is Hank Hill, and I'm telling you what, you need to listen to Alex Jones.
Yeah. Infowars.com.
Judge, what is the secret of the universe?
Infowars.com.
All right, coming up in the next segment, when some stations join us, I'm going to get into the latest Bilderberg news in detail, what we've been witnessing, the press coverage, and some really important inside information that I've been able to receive. So that is coming up. I'm coming to you from just northwest of London in Watford, just about a mile away from the Grove Hotel. We were thrown out of there last night. I'm going to talk about that coming up. I'm also going to talk about Stonehenge. I went to Stonehenge today. And let me tell you, I thought it would be overrated. Not overrated. And I'm going to tell you about that coming up, or maybe I shouldn't. But it was definitely very interesting. Very like a magnetic vortex. I mean, I think it's scientific, not spiritual. I mean, I was like walking up going, oh, big deal. And I was like, buzz. I mean, it was, and the guy's like, oh, the tour guide goes, oh, I noticed you just walked across the ley line. Mm-hmm. And I was like, wow. I mean, I liken it to when there was a Faraday cage at the Mid-American Museum outside Hot Springs, Arkansas. I shot video of this, played it on the nightly news. It's on YouTube. And when they turned it on, even though we were in the bleachers 30 yards away and it was inside a Faraday cage, my hair stood up. I felt electric, but it kind of felt assaulting, like bad energy. It felt, kind of tingly and weird. This was incredibly positive. And obviously they don't let you get near the stones now. There's 1 million people plus a year ago there. I just wanted to go grab and touch those things. And again, I wasn't expecting anything. I'm like, oh, big deal. I've seen big ruins. I've seen big pyramids in Mexico. I've seen it all. Big deal. This is overblown. And so we're just walking up the thing. I'm on the phone talking to the office going, let's get this ready. I'm like, whoa. And man, it's amazing. So I kind of already told the story, but I'll tell that at the bottom of the next hour when Leanne McAdoo and Paul Watson are here. They all felt it. Reeves felt a little bit. The tour guide said, unfortunately, he doesn't have the magnetite or whatever it is in his brain. He's because that's what scientists think it is. As fish and other things have it. Some humans have higher deposits of it. They're not exactly sure about the science, but it's how birds use magnetic lines to fly south. It's how bugs know how to migrate, stuff like that. And he said he wishes he had it. But he said, in fact, he said it was strange that 3 of a party of 4 had it, as he said. And he said he's not even a religious person. He was like an atheist professor guy that works out there. But he said definitely it's a magnetic vortex. All right. I already kind of told the story. That's the thing about my show. I don't really build stuff up unless I'm not ready to cover it yet. And I'm kind of focusing my mind to be able to go over all the facts. But David Knight, do you have any comments about Stonehenge before we come back and get into Bilderberg?
Yeah, I have a personal story. We went there in 1980. My wife and I went there. And she's always remembered that. We pulled up, and it was before they had the fences out there. And we just pulled up in the middle of January. It's very, very cold, very bleak. Got out of the bus, drove off, and we were the only ones there. And it just really scared her. I'm kind of from an engineering background. I'm like looking at this, well, how did they build that? How did they do this and that? But she was just totally creeped out about it. She didn't feel the magnetic thing that you felt, but when we came back, she would always tell people, I'd talk about Stonehenge, and she'd say, oh, it was horrible. There was no place to hide. And, no place to hide. And then one of our friends said,
I'm going back.
Yeah.
Listen, I'm going back, okay? I'm going to go move by that thing. I mean, I felt so energized. I felt like I was 18 again.
Wow.
And I hate to get into mumbo jumbo, folks. I'm telling you, it was real. I was like, whoa.
That's pretty amazing. Yeah, she was just freaked out by the place, and she didn't even really know the full background of it.
It feels like a presence.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, maybe that's what she was feeling, but it really did spook her. Really did spook her out. She said there was no place to hide, and that's what our friend said. It's like, yeah, when I go someplace, the first thing I'm looking for is some place to hide.
Again, I am your host, Alex Jones, and if you're a new listener, we have traveled to London, England, to the rural suburbs northwest of there, to Watford, to cover the massive anti-globalist, massive anti-New World Order, massive anti-world government protests that are going to be happening. And there is unprecedented coverage of this. It officially kicks off Thursday and runs through to the end of Sunday evening. Some of them go home Sunday evening, others go home Monday. I will be here until Monday, riding shotgun back in the States. Coming to you from Austin, Texas, is David Knight of InfoWars Nightly News, and I've been able to listen via the free iPhone app when we were driving through traffic back and listening to the show. Sounds great. And it's just great to have people like David Knight that can, just come from a engineering background, but also doing some advocacy work, exposing global warming as a fraud and all that. To have him step in and be doing a big national show like this. So hats off to David right there in the studio. Now, let me get into the news here. First, let's look at drudgereport.com, and then I'll get into our inside news and information. Center column of drudgereport.com has the mainstream news coverage of this, and also Infowars.com coverage of it. And the fact that you've got Business Insider, International Business Times, BBC, London Guardian, Sky Television, and dozens and dozens. I mean, usually every morning I type in Bilderberg and click news on the search engine to see, and it's usually about 15, 16 articles a day lately. Now it was over 50 today. And it's been on television here locally, on Channel 4, on Sky, on BBC. Because I've been talking to the activists, they've been seeing it. So this is very, very exciting that, again, a group that didn't exist, I keep repeating this, we were crazy, we were insane. New York Times, just 4 years ago, said I'm insane, that I was just running around in a parking lot imagining black cars and men in sunglasses following us, that kind of stuff. But now they're discredited. People are saying, wait, there are a group of 100 and really 50 plus now. They've expanded it. Royalty, business leaders, billionaires, Bill Gates, the head of Microsoft, the head of Google, the head of Facebook, meeting with global regulators from EU regulators, antitrust regulators from the US, EU, England, you name it, are there. I mean, okay. But they're like, we don't discuss an agenda. We just have 2 speeches that are an hour long apiece, and that's it. Well, yeah, and then everybody meets and creeps out to their rooms or goes out on the golf course. Then they want to fence up and no cameras or no press, and people try to sneak in. Because for those that don't know about politics, we have laws throughout history that corporate insiders cannot meet with government regulators in secret. Now, why is that? Because then how do you make money as a steel maker or a car maker or a computer maker or a telecommunications company or a manufacturing company? You don't make it making the best product anymore. You make it going and shutting down your competition. And all the groups that are at Bilderberg, other than maybe like Peter Thiel, are all about monopoly capitalism, insiders controlling everything. And I'm not even saying Thiel's a great guy either. He funds a lot of libertarians. He supported Ron Paul and stuff, which I see as good work. And he made his money himself, so he's like, well, hey, don't take it from me in taxes. But these other big globalists that are there, they're the ones lobbying on record to have taxes raised on the middle class and on poor people to give it to them in banker bailouts and too big to fail corporate welfare. And so that's my issue. And these are the people lobbying that they be above the law globally, that they be able to get away with anything. So here are some of the articles up at drudgereport.com. And again, it's a big deal. Drudge, we knocked big hole. Jim Tucker discovered the dam. Well, he'd tell you Westbrook Pegler discovered it, but didn't know what it was. He was like, what is that? And then Tucker said, that's a dam of info. And there's a group meeting, a cabal that's at the very top illegally. And then he helped expose us. There were Lockheed Martin investigations and indictments of politicians or the Prince of the Netherlands getting millions of dollars every time his country bought planes from the U.S. at a price that was too high, and he got a kickback. Just all sorts of basic hardcore corruption. Because of Tucker, then the group existed. People knew it existed. They found out what the Prince was doing there. They found out he was getting money, and so that was when it was first in some European papers. That's why they don't want to be known to exist, because it's just crime going on, hand over fist in there for 3 days, just deals being made. And yeah, they've got other meetings where they do this too. They break off at Davos and do this. They break off at the UN building and go to hotels and do this. But this is where they get one big group of these people together, and it's at the top of the pyramid. It doesn't mean it's the whole capstone, but it's a big chunk of it. And now it's merging with Google. But let me get into, and going with this whole technocracy angle, let me get into the news that's up here, because it's a big deal that Pegler discovered the dam. Tucker, began to point out that we should knock holes in it. Infowars.com and our bigger audience rammed the first big holes in it. Drudge dynamited it and just blew the whole thing out. Because before it was just some big holes. And now the floods come down and they were saying there's no water behind that. There's no insiders. There's no smoking room. There's no tyranny behind that. Now it's flooded out. They're going, what's the big deal? We've got a reservoir. We've got a lake. They're just, hey, okay, they said there was water behind that, but big deal. It's no big deal. There's water here. Except it's not water. It's tyranny. And it's insider cronyism, and it's globalist. I mean, we've gotten the minutes of Bilderberg. WikiLeaks has some of them. They've confirmed they're real. We will take over criminally, violate, the illegal we do now. I can't do a good Kissinger. The other stuff, unconstitutional, takes longer. They hate the constitutions, Magna Carta, Bill of Rights, the old constitutions that people fought for in European countries. They had some good constitutions. They're all gone now, and Bilderberg brags they set up the euro. And I could go on with their exploits of evil. I could go on with how truly infamous they are. I could go on with how I've been death threatened and my family's been death threatened. Well, how do you know it's Bilderberg? It's people that know how to listen to your phone line and call you and tell you that they were just listening. And they do it only when you're having a traumatic event. Like if I hear a family member's had a car wreck or is in the hospital having heart surgery, I go, okay, I'm going to get the call. They're waiting, psych warfare, okay, they're all emotional right now, make the phone call. They're listening all the time. It's either the NSA or GSGQ or whatever it is, or the private contractors, over 800,000 individuals in the U.S. that are hooked into all this, that they're just on it listening. I mean, this is, if you don't have privacy, you don't have freedom. Any free creature, the more advanced a life form on this planet is, naturalists will tell you this, and scientists, environmental biologists will tell you, the more advanced a life form, the more aware it is of its environment. That's the mark of an advanced life form. And they tell you, don't be informed, don't be involved, don't look at these photos from the Boston bombing, don't look at the drill, don't ask questions. The way you survive is not asking questions, not being informed. The way you survive is rolling over and dying. So that said, here's some of the headlines. Bilderberg sets up unofficial press office for first time in 59-year history. And Charlie Skelton's over there. We need to get over there. He's been calling us all day. Max Kaiser's calling in to be on the show later in the week. David Icke's going to be in here. It's going to be just absolutely jam-packed Thursday and Friday here on the broadcast. We're going to get Skelton on. They've been trying to get us over to that. So that's a article here. And we're going to get to that in a moment, more detail. And then we've got no-fly zone enacted over meeting. Well, actually, the cops told us off record, but we can say it just off record who said it, and I'm meeting with one of the head cops tonight for dinner, that no, we believe terrorists are probably going to strike. That's the breaking news, is that they're like, we believe this is a target, and we've gotten unspecified, threats that this could be it. Like a Bilderberg person calls in the thing, like in Switzerland. They don't never mind this famous voice. It's not Henry Kissinger. It is going to be an attack. And so, and of course, I'm joking. There's not going to be an attack. I'm quoting the hypothetical attacks. But they're using that to erect this big steel fence. Let me give them a little heads up. I'm going to be dropping back by again. We got thrown out last night. I'm going to have the crew in here in a minute to tell you about that. That was quite a service. We go and we're eating dinner in there, and the head manager comes in and is just shaking, turning red.
Alex, I'm thinking that maybe that no-fly zone might be so that you don't put up some kind of a surveillance drone on them. Don't you think, maybe?
Yes, callers kept calling in going, put a drone up, put a drone up. And we had actually planned that, but just a little RC or something. But it'd be mainly a media stunt because they like something to focus on.
That's right. That's right. That could be why they've got that there.
But now they've got guys in boats out there with poles, like looking in the water for a meeting that doesn't exist and doesn't have any power and doesn't matter. So absolutely. So you've got that article on drudgereport.com, middle column, fifth story down. Let me see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. No fly zone enacted over meeting. What are they doing in there? Charlie Skelton article out of London Guardian. It's all up there. The week ahead, Bilderberg 2013 comes to the Grove Hotel, Watford. And coming up, we're going to look at the agenda, which actually is written to be dry, but it's cryptic when you know what the agenda really means. But Really, the big breaking news here is this. They are completely freaked out and have threatened to fire people that are managers at the hotel if any photos even get out from a distance. So the hotel is putting pressure on the local police who we've talked to, who really know their stuff. And actually, if they aren't listeners, they're Academy Award winners, because they really know their stuff. And I mean, they really have shown that they understand what this group's doing. They're having pressure by the mayor. I don't want to say, we're going to go to break here in a moment and come back with this, but they've had pressure by the mayor, who's put down any protesting or demonstrating or media, to basically shut everybody down. And the police basically quietly are not going along with all of this. We had the Grove calling police on us last night and the day before, and the police wouldn't do anything for the G46, or what's it called, Watson? G4S. Yeah, G4S security. We'll be right back. Stay with us. Ladies and gentlemen, we are back live. Thank you so much for joining us. Paul Watson is coming up in the next segment with Leanne McAdoo. You can see the pages after pages of notes he's got here of inside intel that we've been gleaning and gathering, and I'm so hyper I can't ever even get to any of it. And we're going to tell you about our Stonehenge experience coming up as well just hours ago. But continuing here with why this is such a big deal, I've talked to multiple insiders. I'll just leave it at that. Inside the hotel, you name it. They're totally freaked out that we have all these insiders. Because now, just last night, being in the hotel, we walked around on the grounds while the G4S security, which is all over England, it's one of the biggest security companies in the world, was going along with heavy equipment, putting up these giant concrete blocks that look like they weighed about, let's not exaggerate, a ton apiece, with a big metal pole out of them, putting up steel grating about 10 feet tall. They were putting this up all the way around the hotel, and we were walking around like we owned the place. So we're going up, talking to security, getting photos, discussing everything. And then as it gets dark, we go into the hotel restaurants. They have 3 of them, and one of them was full. He said, go to this other one. So we go to this other one. It's all packed full of people. We sit down. The waiter comes over and is looking at me. I could tell he knew who I was, but I didn't say anything. He just learned that, that look. I go over to get food, and a female worker, I'm not going to describe her in case they know who she is. She comes over and she goes, I just want to say we appreciate in a British voice what you're doing with your team, all of you. And we're going to have, and I'll talk to you later. And she goes off. So then it's a buffet at this particular restaurant. So then I get down to the end, and another person, a gentleman, comes over. Again, I won't describe him. And he goes, actually, maybe I shouldn't even tell these stories. But the point is, it doesn't matter. They know half their crew's listeners anyways. It freaks them out. And he tells me, how did you even get in here? They run us through the ringer to even get in the building every day. Well, we waltz in like we own the place, just like the global crime syndicate does. They rob the world, but do it like they're doing a favor and have red carpets and get awards for doing it. Thank you for $85 billion of your money a month. We saved the economy. It's you who are lazy, not paying enough, when almost all the tax money goes to these fat cats. And they're busy trying to destroy the economy so their wealth has more value. They don't just steal it. They then want to ruin us so they're the only ones with any money. I mean, if they're going to steal from me, at least come back and spend it with me. I mean, it's like, but see, they're so evil, they get that. If they steal it, then spend it, we might be okay. They want to, they're totally greedy, man. I mean, this is absolutely out of control. It's the old saying of, you can do you know what to me, but you can't rub it in. I mean, this is just completely out of control. So we shoot the video that's on Infowars.com, transhumanist death cult, Bilderberg to meet at the Grove, and we show all those statues and things. And then we go inside, and all of a sudden, Richard was at the buffet, and security comes and says, come with us right now or you'll be arrested. Well, Richard, kind of nicely went out in the hallway to not make a scene to talk to him, and they threaten him and, throw him out. And then they come back to us, and I'm now at the table, and the manager comes over, the head security, and he goes, and he had like tears in his eyes. He goes, Mr. Jones, Mr. Watson, leave now. Come with me into the other area. And I said, well, hey, give me the bill. I'm going to pay for the food we've got and stuff here. And there's some video of that, too, online. And he wouldn't do that. He said, no, you're going to leave now. So we left, even though we were registered there, and they canceled it and were rude about it and had the general manager of the whole just incredible. We drove in, parked, went in, and they act like we're the criminals while it's these globalists. Now, through our moles, we were able to confirm that the police have been told by the higher-ups in the city and MI6 and MI5 that are all already there, but more of them arriving tomorrow and Thursday, that a terror attack is imminent. I mean, we don't have any proof of it. It's like Bush with the fake terror alerts. It came out they would issue fake terror alerts as a political distraction. Ari Fleischer had admitted that, and so did others. Tom Ridge admitted that they would issue terror alerts for political distractions. So that's what they're doing here, is they're saying, we believe this is a terror target. We believe that there's non-specific evidence of, and I was talking to one cop. I guess that's because a week ago somebody chopped somebody's head off, and the Muslim population is stirred up. That was probably a real event, so maybe they'll be drawn to this. So I guess in some weird fantasy, I guess there is some low probability that it could be a magnet. There's some, for some real crazy. But when we come back, Paul Watson will break down the real breaking info and some more of the articles that are up on Infowars.com. And then Leanne McAdoo will give you her take on this and so much more straight ahead. It's Bilderberg coverage from London, 2013.
Visit Infowars.com and PrisonPlanet.com. When you're on the site, you can also tune in 24 hours a day to my daily radio broadcast. There's also a free iPhone app to listen to the syndicated radio show when and where you want.